Yeah, I've spent some time thinking about what the Bible has to say about the community's role in times of either community, financial, or economic instability, or individual economic instability. So, and I guess what stands out to me the most is the heart of God has never changed. So if you look at the Old Testament, we can see part of God's heart in the way that he designed the rules and laws that he gave to his people to follow. And those rules include paying attention to, his people were to pay attention to others among them who were poor, who were in need, who were in positions of where they lacked powers, such as widows, orphans, even sojourners, so visitors in the land that weren't actually a part of the Israelite people. And in God's law, he actually instructs his people to conduct their work in such a way that those who are in need have the opportunity to provide for themselves. So not only to receive assistance, but to put their hands to the plow also, in a manner of speaking, and be able to support themselves. So a lot of us have been familiar for a long time with the gleaning laws that God handed down. So if a field of grain was harvested, it wasn't to be harvested to the absolute edges. And if I remember that right, and if any sheaves of wheat were left unintentionally out in the field, they were to remain there so that people who needed to find food to eat in some way could go behind and glean those extra sheaves that were lying there. If olive trees were shaken to bring down the fruit, they weren't to go through yet another shaking to bring down every last olive. And the same with gleaning the grapes or harvesting the grapes. So harvesting was to happen with an eye to those who might need and couldn't provide for themselves in the usual ways, so that they could come in and do a bit of work by gleaning and then take care of themselves. And then you look at some of the things that God spoke through the prophets, and they were there was attention to the hypocrisy of engaging in religious practices like very diligently, including fasting, but at the same time not paying attention to those who are in need, allowing injustice to continue, oppressing workers, and God actually treats those in religious practices as disgusting if they aren't accompanied by justice and mercy. And then the thread continues into the New Testament with Jesus' teaching. So again, it isn't about total independence. There's an interdependence among Jesus' people where what matters to him is that when there are people who are in need, his people have an eye open to that and then respond by helping to meet that need. So you have the story of the Good Samaritan, where he is praising efforts to meet need for someone who is potentially hated, and to meet that need, and that need is met in a very generous way. And then you look at the early church practices, and the church continued this after Jesus was gone. And so that the early Christians acted to the extent of selling their possessions and sharing among themselves, so there was no one left lacking. And I could go on. There's just not enough time, but I guess what we can say is God's heart has never changed, and he has always cared about community, pulling together, taking care of one another, and making it possible for each other to provide for themselves. So we serve the same God today that people have served for thousands of years.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Don't forget to leave your thoughts on this topic in the comments section. To learn more, click the links in the description below, and have a great week.